we are back again. This time we are looking at a break on a banjo tune. I just taught a workshop in Portland just this past weekend about this very topic, this very tune, and so I thought I would talk about it here some. Taking a break on a banjo tune, it's pretty difficult. I think the hardest part is probably just figuring out what the actual melody is, because usually it's pretty basic and sometimes not even necessarily like very melodic. And sort of translating what's happening with the banjo can be a little bit tricky to translate it onto the fiddle and make it sound musical. But we're looking at a break from Alison Krauss. She played fiddle on this track. I don't think on the whole record. But Lonesome River Band, carrying the tradition. It's a really super good record. And man, it feels like we're just kind of, lately on the channel, we've just been like kind of tackling classic bluegrass. This is like as bluegrass as it gets. And I think Alison does a really good job of this tune, and it's got some great little things in it, and we'll take a look at those. But we're in the key of A, and we're going to start the break off with what is, I would say, like a pretty classic way to get into a tune. Someone at my workshop was asking me, like, how do you know how to like kick off a tune or like kick off a break? And it kind of led me to a very interesting answer, which was that it all depends on like what my where my landing spot is, like whether my landing spot is the root, in this case A, whether it's the fifth would be E, whether I'm trying to get to the third. And like for each of those landing spots, I have like what is essentially a different lick. And this one, we're going to the root. And this is just like a super great lick, like way to kick off where your landing spot is the root of the key. So that sounds like this. And I'm doing a little hammer on from G sharp to A with the adjacent A string drone. Then we have not a variation, but like kind of just adding some melodic interest that's not actually in the tune, because the tune would sound kind of like this. But Alison goes. So adding a couple passing tones, kind of mixing up how the notes come, but like keeping the general shape of the melody and having your landing spots agree with what the melody is. So slowly those two phrases. And then we have another kind of lick that you could use as a kickoff. Once again, going back to A. Still doing that G sharp to A hammer on up to the droned A with the fourth finger. But we also want to take a look at the way that starts, which is C sharp B A, but there's you do a little slide up on the C sharp, and you have to slur to get it right. So it's got kind of a bluesy sound. And you'll want to just have your first finger planted on both the A and the E note, so you have a double stop fifth right here. And you just keep that planted down the whole time, and that might take some finger strength building if you don't have it, but in the long run it ends up saving a lot of energy and motion, and a lot of this stuff is just not possible without that kind of efficiency. Moving forward, she does a little like weird kind of C sharp hammer on in that kind of rhythm. And that's done with the second finger. Just kind of lightly bringing it down on the string. And I've notated it in the notation, like kind of with the correct rhythm. So you'll want to take a look at that. Up until that point, I'll play it slow for you. So just like that. Now moving on, we're going to do some parallel fifths. This is like kind of a great lick. You could probably use it as a kickoff leading up to E, which is kind of how it's used here, but it goes like this. And there's a little bit of a slide up to the C natural. That's kind of self-explanatory. And now, next phrase. One thing to note about this, which is that there's an open note before you do your shift, and that's there intentionally so that you have time to actually do the shift and get it in tune. And you'll want to do that with second finger on the E string, third finger on the A string. And that is going to make just like an A chord. And you'll want to kind of slide up to it, just kind of like how I'm doing. And then moving on, we're going to, our next note that starts the next phrase is an open string, which gives you time to reset your hand back down into first position. But the next phrase, just all blues, very similar to kind of the stuff that's been happening in the Jason Carter breaks that we've been looking at. Slide down and then slide up. Next phrase. It's the same lick as we had earlier, just without the fifths. And then in order to get that right, we're gonna, that last note, the E natural, we're gonna want to put down our first finger on both E natural and B to make this double stop, because as you'll see in a second, you're gonna do a B and an E double stop here. And the only way to really make that work is if you are putting it down ahead of time before you need it. Here. That. Here. see how that works? But to the end, there's an anticipation there. Then there's just a very, 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 very common and simple A blues lick to end it out. So yeah, it's a pretty simple break, pretty great. It's got some cool stuff in it. That shift might be a little tricky. But I think this is a good, just like, it has a lot of great building blocks for just like understanding how like a solo is constructed, because there are all these landing points where she just kind of insert like a blues-ish lick noises, and, you know, and as long as you end up in your landing spot, you're good to go. And the landing spots are following the melody. So yeah, that's kind of all I have for you this week. But if you're liking what you are getting from me, please like and subscribe on my YouTube channel. Definitely going to be getting some like performance videos and maybe some free lesson videos on there as well pretty soon. And follow me on Instagram, send me a friend request on Facebook, all of the above. Any kind of support y'all can give me is fantastic, and thanks so much for your support so far, and we'll talk soon. All right, bye-bye.